of drafts and material that led to my work and joining the foundation on developing a program at MacArthur that would be explicitly aimed at improving public policies across a wide range of areas of activity of interest to the foundation.
So this would include designing research and a communication strategy?
The whole program, the whole ball of wax.
Okay.
And I spent, and with Val and others, I spent an enormous amount of time, both from the standpoint of engaging with colleagues who would become colleagues, and it became clear to me at some point that the only way of creating a program that would succeed within the foundation would be to emphasize kind of methods, not substantive expertise. I was not going to learn and hire more people in community justice than Lori Garducki had in her community justice program, her criminal justice program. I was not going to be able to somehow compete with Connie and on her digital learning and all that kind of stuff. I mean, so the question was, how do you strengthen and complement the work that's going on in the foundation, but have a uniquely definable, defensible four corners on a policy program that does not simply overlap the policy content of each of the areas that, and you know, at that time, we had 14, 15 grant programs. We had energy, we had all kinds of stuff. Just on the domestic side, small pots of money, big pots of money. And ultimately, that's how the defining program of the power of measuring social benefits came out. And the concept of that was, if you look at the history of environmental research and where kind of cost-benefit analysis really kind of grew.
Right.
We always did a better job of measuring costs and benefits. One of the things about environmental law and the history of environmental programs is costs were not part of it. That is, the Clean Air Act didn't say, we want our air to be clean.
Because it's going to reduce health care.
What we said was it'll save X million lives if you do this. And we really didn't say, but at what cost? But a lot of the cost-benefit work in my field really had a hell of a lot better handle on costs than benefits. And what we used to do is say, you know, on top of being able to address this problem, there are lots of qualitative benefits. There are a lot of qualitative benefits that improve mental health. And, you know, a classic kind of example of this I've used a lot in the foundation. It's funny, I don't think I funded any, I may have, but I don't think I funded any research in this area. postpartum depression. It keeps a lot of mothers out of the labor force. And so the question really becomes, if you can really reduce the incidence of maternal depression, what are the benefits to the labor market? What are the benefits not only to the family, the labor market? So the question then becomes, can you quantify the benefits of investing in the provision of mental health services and support to families based on really the proposition that this will benefit the economy? And so we became involved in things like, what are the long-term effects of pre-K and early childhood education? We began to provide grants to a variety of researchers to quantify social benefits.
HUD was doing this work?
No, foundation. I mean, this was
okay.
what the power of social benefits really, how I ultimately defined the policy program.
Oh, good.
It was around the issues of quantifying those benefits of government programs that we usually spoke of in only qualitative terms. We would say, well, on top of that, yeah, it costs this, but it really improves, mental health. And I said, well, prove it. Well, this is the flip side of that, and that is if we could measure the benefits that we usually talk about in qualitative terms, we can have much more rigorous defenses of spending money on social programs.
Right.
Social programs notoriously have unmeasurable benefits, and we get steamrollered during particular times in our political history where the prove it issue says, I know it costs $10 million, what are you getting for it?
Right.
Well, we're getting improved family life. I said, well, what the hell does that mean? So we invested a lot of money in trying to quantify social benefits. And ultimately, that's where the name of the program, the power of measuring social benefits, really comes into play. And now you've got Deborah, you've got other program directors and officers coming to me and saying, look, we're doing some really interesting work in criminal justice. We would love it if you would find a way of working with us to provide a grant that would focus on measuring the benefits that we think are coming out of our programs. And all of a sudden what you have is a collaborative program instead of a competitive program. And you've got one where you don't have to have a staff on your policy shop that are experts in criminal justice and so on. So Lori and introduced me to incredible mental health researchers at Columbia and kind of elsewhere, and said, can you really work with us in our program to focus just on your job, focus just on helping us measure the benefits of larger funding that we're doing. So it leveraged our money. And the thing, quite frankly, I'm most proud of, and we had some critical intellectual leadership in a few universities around this topic, but